faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books worldwide. Hi there, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, I'm going to interpret the book Breaking Circles, subtitle The Power of Weak Ties. What are weak ties? Why should we understand the power of weak ties? Basically, weak ties are like casual acquaintances in everyday life. One key point of the book is that those overlooked casual pals often bring us valuable chances. Have you ever scored an opportunity thanks to a casual buddy? Oh, feel free to share in the comments. The creation of Breaking Circles itself proves this idea solidly. The author's meeting up is pure weak ties magic. Author Richard Koch is a big deal serial entrepreneur. He was a senior consultant at Boston Consulting Group, partner at Bain, and co-founded LEK Consulting in the UK. You might not know Richard Koch, but you've probably heard of his hit book, The 80-20 Rule. Lots of things fit the 80-20 rule. 80% of gains from 20% of work, and 80% of wins go to 20% of folks. So, aiming to be in that top 20% is your key to success. That 20% are the main connectors in the whole network. After reading Breaking Circles, you'll totally get the 80-20 thing better. The other author, Greg Lockwood, is a big shot investor in internet companies with HR consulting stints at IBM and Accenture. How did Richard and Greg, no connection, end up teaming up for this book? Back in early 2001, by chance, they each invested in online gambling firms in London. After the companies merged, Greg joined Richard's company board. Why'd they get into online gambling? Oh, it was a whole friend of a friend chain that hooked them up. If any link in that chain broke, they might never have met, and this book wouldn't exist. After publication, this book got nods from big-name scholars like Professor Hu Young at Beijing University and Professor Satoy at Oxford. Getting this book helps us harness this crazy, powerful, creative force. All right, I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. First up, the world's hidden framework, network structures. Part 2 digs into weak ties, value, and how they play with strong ties. Part 3, how to leverage weak ties and pick the right hubs for more chances. Let's kick off with the book's core concept, networks. Our world's a web. Understanding how networks tick is key to improving it. So what's a network anyway? Picture a city's subway map. Colored lines and packed stations everywhere. That's a metro network. Social networks work similar, but stations become people and tracks become relationships. A network's interconnected folks or things that communicate. Members share benefits, but also shoulder costs and duties. Your workplace, your kid's school, your mom's square dance crew, all networks. In this web world, each person's like a subway stop, uselessly alone. We need connections to tap the network's power for our goals. Personally, networks have 3 key pieces: strong ties, weak ties, and hubs. Strong ties are rock solid. Family, close friends, daily coworkers, giving major emotional backup. Weak ties, those casual acquaintances, like meeting a friend of a friend at a wedding or a dog lover neighbor while walking your pup. These random folks and low-maintenance bonds, they're weak ties. Last piece, hubs. Think of hubs as meeting points where strong and weak ties converge. For example, a company is a hub. Employees there share common goals and need to collaborate. Except for family, which we can't choose as a hub, in most cases we can pick which hub to join, influence it, or change it. To sum up, strong and weak ties are our relationships with others or groups, while hubs are the groups we're part of. These 3 elements form the network. Understanding how it's built helps us learn its operating rules. Some say success comes from strong skills or good luck. Both are important, of course. But actually, whether it's individuals or businesses, their success is tightly linked to networks. It's the network effect that drives them forward. Many successful folks might not realize this themselves. Hey, have you heard of the 6 degrees of separation theory? Simply put, anyone in the world can connect to anyone else through at most 6 people. For instance, if your favorite Swiss tennis player Federer retires and you want to send him a gift, by the 6 degrees theory, you could get the gift to him through at most 6 middlemen. As the authors put it, we live in a small world, not about size, but meaning. You can easily reach anyone you want to contact. Conversely, a big world means no communication, with groups isolated from each other. In a small world, everyone you know can link you to others. So, do you live in a small world or a big one? If you're in a small world, congrats. Oh, that's where big opportunities come from. Successful people often live in smaller worlds, way tinier than average folks. Compared to others, they break out of their social circles, connect better, and grab more valuable info. They snag chances from the small world, then use better connections to grow their influence and get more benefits. Sir Stephen Sherborne was a cabinet minister under UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and chief of staff to politician Michael Howard. Stephen felt weak ties' importance throughout his career. He barely knew Howard, no direct link in cabinet. So how'd they connect? Oh, it turns out Stephen met a young man at work whose girlfriend happened to be Howard's advisor. This young man learned from his girlfriend that Howard needed a chief of staff. So through these two weak ties, Stephen became Howard's chief of staff and returned to the political center. Of course, it's not just these super connectors who benefit. They're crucial for society as a whole, connecting different parts of the world and different people together. Without them, we'd revert to a big world of isolation and no communication. Therefore, each of us benefits from the small world. Notably, when we talk about more and better connections, we're referring to weak ties in the network. Strong ties are important too, but weak ties often hold more value. In part 2, we'll dig deeper into the value of weak ties and explore their relationship with strong ties. Now, as the authors say, weak ties are incredible and one of the most powerful creative forces. The interesting thing about weak ties is that maintaining them takes little time and effort, but can bring huge benefits. And when sometimes information casually provided by acquaintances can completely change our lives. Way back in 1973, Stanford professor and sociologist Mark Granovetter proposed the strength of weak ties theory. Simply put, people we're close to usually move in the same social circles, meaning everyone has similar information resources. And weak ties between people are key bridges between two close friend circles. Remember the 6 degrees of separation theory we just mentioned? Actually, more accurately, it's not about connecting through 6 specific people, but through 6 different social circles. If you know 100 people with very similar backgrounds, whose lives, work, and relationships are almost identical, then that 100 people essentially counts as just one social circle. The book's title, Breaking Circles, emphasizes breaking out of social circles, put more bluntly, being able to mix in different circles. 1, through weak ties, we can bridge larger social distances, meet people from more diverse circles, and thus gain more useful new ideas and information. However, weak ties are often the most overlooked, underutilized, and underestimated part of our lives. Oh, when most of us hit trouble and need help, we naturally turn to our closest folks, like relatives, good friends, or our most solid old classmates. That sounds logical, because we believe close relationships mean more willingness to help. But reality? Often, it's casual acquaintances who offer more effective help. Through weak ties between people, we get more diverse resources. For example, Granovetter studied a question we all care about: how to find jobs. Job sites, career fairs, company websites, they all list new positions. But Granovetter's findings show connections from weak ties matter more for job hunting. More people land jobs through connections than direct apps, and high-paying jobs usually come that way. Even wilder, over a quarter got jobs through folks they'd barely met. So never ever underestimate weak ties' power. Weak ties aren't weak at all. Since weak ties are so strong, do we still need to maintain strong ties? Absolutely. Strong ties benefits are crystal clear. We need family bonds, friendships, love. They make life richer and more meaningful. Weak and strong ties aren't an either-or choice. In a small world, we enjoy both connections' benefits. And when you leverage weak ties, your strong ties improve too. Because when casual pals help you achieve goals, you stop expecting practical gains from family and friends. For close relationships, love, company, and support are enough. Weak ties don't just bring personal chances, they bridge new ideas between groups. You could say weak ties drive society forward. Humans instinctively prefer their own groups and people with similar backgrounds. If this instinct grows too strong, it breeds group exclusion and social fractures. Luckily, humans also have a cooperation instinct. As famed psychologist and Harvard professor Steven Pinker said, language, social cooperation, and tech expertise, these three forces evolved together, letting humans achieve more through teamwork. Silicon Valley, the U.S. high-tech hub, is perhaps the world's best example of weak ties power. America's original high-tech hub wasn't Silicon Valley, but Route 128 near Boston, packed with computer companies. Yet Route 128 eventually lost its edge. Why did giants like Intel, HP, and Cisco end up basing themselves in Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley's competitive edge lies not in individual companies, but in the whole ecosystem. Harvard researchers found Silicon Valley developed a decentralized, experimental work style. This approach features collaboration and collective learning across networks of specialized firms and engineers. And Silicon Valley thrives on weak ties and small firms, more startups and constant professional exchanges. On average, Silicon Valley workers stay at a company just 2 years. This active exchange fuels innovation, giving Silicon Valley global leadership and creating vast wealth. In contrast, Route 88's big firms favored self-sufficiency, discouraging job hopping and collaboration. Each company hoarded expertise internally, ultimately losing their competitive position. This pattern extends beyond tech. Many legacy giants struggle with innovation against newer players. Take McDonald's. Once an innovator creating the first fast food system with strengths in real estate and franchising. Yet McDonald's didn't leverage these strengths to create new fast food brands. Why do companies become less innovative, even resistant, as they grow stronger? Their reliance on strong versus weak ties shifts. New firms depend heavily on external weak ties like outsourcing. New companies lack fixed hiring channels. Employees come from diverse backgrounds and firms. At this stage, strong ties haven't formed internally. Weak ties dominate. But when companies grow larger and mature, things change. Strong ties multiply internally. Relationships with key clients, suppliers, and regulators strengthen, while employees become more similar and culture more uniform. Oh, this highly unified internal state, like an army, does support efficient mass production, but also makes companies closed off, weakening innovation. As we said earlier, weak and strong ties aren't an either-or choice. Weak ties excel at creating new value and driving new markets, while strong ties are great at capturing value. Many solutions involve first leveraging one connection type, then the other. Weak ties impact everything, from landing jobs to cultural fusion and scientific progress. What we should do is embrace human cooperation, build more weak ties, and seize opportunities. Next up, how to tap into, and leverage weak ties in our networked society. That's part 3. To build a great weak ties reservoir, the main method is keeping a wide social circle. Simply put, cast a wide net, stay open to new people and fields. Here's a quick way to test your circle's openness and diversity. Think back. How many not-so-close pals or new friends have you met in 3 months? Even coffee chats count. Then ask, who'd you consult for your last big decision? Were they diverse in age, gender, job, education, or interests? If they're varied strangers to each other, your network's likely open and diverse. But if you only talk to close friends and family, oh, that's a closed network. Hard to get fresh info. Beyond openness, the author suggests 3 strategies for mining weak ties. First, consciously target a new area and dive in, like joining a cycling group or switching jobs. This works but can't be used often. Energy's limited. Second strategy, put yourself in varied settings. Coffee shops, bars, bookstores. Anywhere people gather and conversations happen, go there. Oh, the third strategy is taking special actions to meet urgent needs.
For example, if you're desperately wanting to switch jobs, leverage all your contacts, revive old connections, build new ones, and hustle to find your path to that dream position.
Our generation job hopped way more than our parents did. To older folks, this might seem unstable, but consciously switching jobs is actually necessary. Through work, we meet people and become known, building a valuable network that lasts even after leaving. Staying in the same role at one company, oh, you'll likely miss chances to form new connections. So switching hubs every few years and creating value there lets us gain more weak ties, weave a stronger network, and leap forward in our careers. Author Richard joined Leck during its startup phase. He stayed 6 years, recruiting and sharpening talented young folks, watching them grow with the company. These top talents were Richard's accumulated treasure for the firm. You could say Richard played a crucial role in Leek's early days. After leaving, he found this experience's impact didn't end. The network built at LEK landed him 4 major deals. Even 20 years post-Lek, those connections still worked wonders. Per Richard's experience, playing a key role in an excellent hub automatically helps you. Note these keywords: excellent hub and key role. What makes an excellent hub? The answer varies by person. Since values differ, join hubs that resonate with yours and feel comfortable. With that, successful people highlight 2 main criteria for joining hubs: how much you can learn there and how much you can contribute. The first criterion's obvious. Especially early career, you absolutely want places where you'll learn the most. But after you've grown and accumulated experience, you should consider what you can contribute within the hub, because only contributors can become key players in hubs and gain more returns. So before choosing a hub, we must understand ourselves, know our strengths to contribute, recognize weaknesses needing support, then select a fitting hub and strive to become its core, making it richer, stronger, and more valuable. For most people, success depends heavily on your chosen hubs and your ability to consciously transition between them. As the saying goes, uproot a tree and it dies. Move a person and they thrive. That's exactly the principle. Transitioning hubs doesn't mean leaving current organizations. You can experience multiple hubs simultaneously. For example, your company is one hub, your book club is another. Regular meetups with old classmates also form a hub. We're fortunate to live in an abundant era with countless hubs. Everyone has opportunities to build more connections. That covers the book's main content. Let's revisit the key points. Modern humans live in a highly specialized, interdependent society. Viewing life through hubs, strong ties and weak ties, makes important personal and business decisions clearer. Life's most overlooked weak ties often provide valuable information and unexpected opportunities. Weak ties aren't just valuable personally. For businesses, they're pathways to innovation. For society, weak ties between people and groups are bridges spreading new ideas. To leverage weak ties, maintain wide social circles, stay open to new people or fields, consciously enter new domains, join organizations, or immerse yourself in diverse settings to spark conversations. All right, that's Breaking Circles, the Power of Weak Ties. That wraps up our interpretation of this book. You'll find the reading notes below the audio. See you next time.